Namaste one more time to this beautiful evening. How profoundly, profoundly elated we are to have you all, each one of you, amidst this convergence here in this very, very beautiful place today, ladies and gentlemen. At the very, very outset, kindly accept the warmest of welcome from the organizers' side, Nepal India Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Nikki, along with the Indian Embassy in Nepal, take all the pleasure in having this very august opportunity to be extending the warmest of welcome to each and every one of you. And especially given this historic venue that we chose to host you all in this very August evening, we believe this is not only adding to the ambience right here, but also adding to the essence of the program as well as the object that we bring forth to you. And yes, we are looking forward to a very, very engaging evening with your valued presence, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we mark the long-cherished and unique ties between our two countries, Nepal and India. It is worthy to note that the deep cultural, social, and religious ties create a resilient connection between our two countries, only setting grounds for newer avenues to further foster our age-old friendship. I'm sure you all agree to that. Now, one central avenue undoubtedly is tourism. And this evening is one that gets us a peek into the past and opens possibilities for the future, basically helping us rekindle and add wings to our imagination, enthusiasm, and aspirations. Now, we are highly, highly delighted, ladies and gentlemen, and honored with the presence of Honorable Minister for Culture, Tourism, and Civil Aviation, Mr. Sudan Kirati, as our chief guest. With deepest gratitude and the warmest of greeting, we extend our welcome to the Honorable Minister. Profoundly pleased we are, ladies and gentlemen, to have the gracious presence of His Excellency, Mr. Naveen Srivastav, the Ambassador of India to Nepal. We extend him the warmest of welcome to this occasion. And equally pleased we are to have with us the Foreign Secretary, Mr. Bharat Paudal. And thank you, sir, for gracing us. And our pleasure indeed knows no bound, ladies and gentlemen, to have the presence of scholars, academicians, officials, and eminent personalities from the fraternity, from the government side, tourism champions, leaders from the private sector, the esteemed personalities, in fact, the cream la cream of the country. Thank you for gracing us. Thank you for making it here tonight. I am Shivani Thapa Bosnet, your host for the evening. And now to get the tone set for the evening, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to quickly temporarily leave the stage for a bit to pave way for a cultural performance without which none of the celebrations in Nepali custom is complete. Now, you all know, nestled in the majestic Himalayas, culture is something, our culture and the diversity is something that we boast about. And the real beauty demonstrated by our nation and this very culture is the unity that is the very essence and foundation of it. Allow me, in fact, to begin this cultural journey, which will be one important part of this engagement here in the evening. Allow me to begin the journey in the heart of the Kathmandu, heart of the country that's Kathmandu, which is considered home to gods and goddesses. Life here, as you know, revolves around the festivities for the numerous deities believed to reside here in the three cities of the valley. Among the hundreds of deities is the globally renowned Kumari, the living goddess. Kumari is the living manifestation of the divine female energy or Shakti in dharmic religious traditions. So as we pay our homage to Goddess Kumari, ladies and gentlemen, please join your hands for this beautiful cultural performance.
Kumari Ratnavarnabha Shakti Hasta
Dignitaries, distinguished guests, this evening is an important occasion for Nepal India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, NICI, which sees tourism as a potential area where bilateral cooperation can mutually benefit both our countries through strategic planning and actions. Joining hands with the Indian Embassy in Nepal, which very, very much reciprocates the thought in equal measure, and a host of our partners to bring you a coffee table book on religious and spiritual circuits between Nepal and India, which again is at the core of tonight's engagement, is, we believe, a small but a very, very meaningful and forward-looking approach towards realizing our mutual aspirations of prosperity. Now, it is all about building on the values, the heritages, and the assets we as friend nations can offer to the world together. To shed further light on this and to extend you a formal welcome, may I invite on stage the lady whose brainchild, the coffee book, is coming to us in a while tonight, the President of Nepal India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mrs. Srijana Rana.
Honorable Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, Mr. Sudan Kirati-ji, His Excellency Mr. Naveen Srivastav-ji, Honorable Foreign Secretary of Nepal, Mr. Bharat Raj Paudel-ji, Deputy Mayor of Lalitpur, Tourism Board members, President, past presidents, office bearers of associations, former ambassadors of Nepal, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming. On behalf of NICI, the Nepal India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Embassy of India, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here to the bilateral tourism promotion, India and Nepal, along with the book launch of Religious and Spiritual Circuits, Nepal and India. Nepal and India share a heritage and relationship that goes back for thousands of years. It remains as true as steadfast as it did at the time of the many stories recounted in this book. And it continues to do so today, and it will continue to do so in the days and years to come. A very welcome result of this relationship for our tourism industry is how simple travel is between our two nations. No visas needed, little in the way of language barrier, shared cultures, and a home away from home wherever you go. As a proud Nepali, I could go on for hours about the wonders and beauty of our culture and our land. And as an equally proud president of Nepal India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I could simply sing the praises about the rich heritage and people of India. But our two nations are more than this. This book came about from a wish to share more than the remarkable diversity and beauty of Nepal and India. We wanted to showcase our incredible religious sites and further promote bilateral tourism between our two nations. There are always challenges in promoting a new destination or theme, but one thing is certain, it is not enough to say, come visit our countries. We must show why. This book does that. Many of the sites covered in this book are well known to many, as a part of our heritage and our faith, and each site has a story to tell. As a little girl, I used to listen in wonder to the stories my grandmother told me of the goddess Janaki, who was born in Nepal, and Lord Ram, who was born in Ayodhya. She told me how the Pandavas were last seen in Swargadwari, how the Lord Buddha was born in Nepal but lived his life in India, how Guru Nanak Ji came to Nepal and established a Sikh community here. So many marvelous stories that fascinated me as a child and fascinate me still to this day. Our faiths often include the passing of wisdom and knowledge from generation to generation, but not all of us have had a loving grandmother, parent, or guru to listen to and learn from. And for those of us who did, there was still so much to learn and explore in our own faith and in that of others. And what about our children and the generation to come? For so long, we have been sharing knowledge from generation to generation, but have not been recording and documenting these stories. So this book is not only a book to encourage religious tourism between our two nations, but it is also a record of the richness and depth of our religious heritage, which span the subcontinent and many parts of Southeast Asia. Religious and Spiritual Circus, Nepal and India showcases the immense richness of the religious sites found in Nepal and India, and the great significance of three of the world's major religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Sikhism. It draws you in with the myth, legends, and facts associated with each place. For instance, there is a story of the agony and grief of a man who carried his beloved's body until there was nothing left of her to hold. But to this day, we worship and revere the sites where parts of her dropped to earth as symbols of power, Shakti Peeths, but also as symbols of love and devotion. This was the story of Lord Shiva and the goddess Sati Devi, and one of the sites is in Goeshwari here in Kathmandu. If you open up any page of this book, and you will find stories of the incredible power and divinity of these sites and how they were established. They tell you how these sites are interlinked and form an extraordinary binational network bound by faith and worship, and how they have influenced who and what we are. This book also tells you where to find these sites. This book has been a labor of love and perseverance. It brought together scholars, passionate advocates, and believers who contributed their time, their devotion, and their words to their book. We were very lucky indeed to have experts and scholars from both nations contribute their knowledge and time to make the book a reality. Mrs. Neera Mishra, Dr. Ramesh Dhungel, Dr. Basudev Krishna Shastri, and Mr. Ramesh Bhattrai, Dr. Hari Prasad Adhikari, and Acharya Pandit Teknaran Upadhyay, Mr. Gyani Gurubaksh Singh, Mr. Rajendra Singh Chadda, Mr. Bikram Pandikaji, Mr. Deepak Anand. At Nikki, Marshall Rathore and Luja Mathema, with the support of the Nikki Secretariat, worked on the project from its inception, guiding it through all the hiccups and hurdles that occur in any project such as this. My special thanks also goes to Nepal Tourism Board and the Nepal Embassy, India. I appreciate His Excellency Dr. Shankar Sharma, Nepalese Ambassador to India, who is keen to launch this book in Delhi very soon. I have left two individuals for the last, but they are very much not the least. Honorable Minister of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, Mr. Sudhan Kirati, and His Excellency Mr. Naveen Srivastav, Ambassador of India to Nepal. Gentlemen, your support and encouragement has been invaluable. To our authors, those in the Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, the Embassy of India, Nikki, and the Honorable Minister and His Excellency, the Ambassador, thank you very much. This book could not have become a reality without you, each of us working together for spiritual interconnectedness, because to understand our faith is to understand who we are. Before I end, I'm delighted to let you know that the IRCTC, the Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Cooperation, has launched the Bharat-Nepal Asta Yatra Tour, starting at the end of this month on the 31st. The 9 nights, 10 days tour will visit places such as Ayodhya, Varanasi, Prayagraj in India, and Pashupatinath in Kathmandu, Nepal. And so the journey begins. Honorable Minister, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special day for us. By joining us today, you have honored all of us who worked so hard on this project. Thank you and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Madam President. And in the very essence of the reflections put forth by Madam President, there is so much that our two countries can together offer to the world. Things that are rare, unique, and have the ability to offer greater peace and wisdom. Tonight can be, as evident in her speech, just a new beginning. Let us mark this August moment with a gesture of solidarity. Ladies ladies and gentlemen, in the truest of Nepali tradition, may I now invite our honorable dignitaries to kindly mark the formal inauguration of this entire event, of this journey that we are so positively looking forward to. May I have this privilege of inviting our chief guest, the Honorable Minister, Mr. Sudan Kirati, accompanied by His Excellency, the Ambassador of India to Nepal, Mr. Navin Srivastav, and the President of NICI, Mrs. Srijana Rana, to mark this momentous occasion by lighting the traditional panas: water, fire, earth, metal, and space. The 5 elements that form the universe, ladies and gentlemen, is what we bring together as we mark the inaugural of this event. Marking this august occasion in the truest of our traditions. Thank you, dignitaries, for the honor. Now, they say vision without action is merely a dream. I'm sure you all agree to this. And they also say one that has some actions can change the world, holds the power to change the world. We just hope that we're living this, because we also want to take this moment, as we are so optimistically looking forward, to thank all the individuals and institutions who were in alignment to a vision that we perceived and lent a hand to make it a reality that is today. We shall now take some moment, ladies and gentlemen, to hear from them. First and foremost, may I invite from among one of our major partners in conceiving the book that we will be presenting in front of you in a short while, the head of marketing and promotion at the Nepal Tourism Board, Mr. Lakshman Gautam, to share his thoughts.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, His Excellency Ambassador, the Secretary of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. This is a distinct honor and privilege to be a part of this very special August gathering. This is such an important threshold of history that we are marking a new step forward for the beginning and consolidating the relationship between people and people of both the nations, who have not remained as nations, but as cradles of civilization. They remain as the civilization itself. Albert Einstein said, "When reason ends, religion begins." That means the lofty thoughts, ideas, ideals enshrined in religious books, in religious texts and scriptures, they are so important that they guide humanity beyond general human principles. And those lofty ideas are so cherished in this part of the world, which is so sacred, so sanctified, and so cherishable for the whole humanity all around the world to follow. We have enjoyed together the legacy of religious cultures, of civilizational cultures, the legacy of great circuits, great prophets, great sages, rishis, all of them. They have traveled across both the countries. They have given their teachings to the peoples of both the nations, and they have become so important for the humanity across the world. I would like to cite here some very important circuits that this book also aims to incorporate to some extent, though as the tip of the iceberg, because things are immeasurably big here. For example, we have Ramayana circuit, Mahabharata circuit, Buddha circuit, Shiva Shakti circuit, Sikh circuit. And we cannot complete the pilgrimage by visiting one or two shrine or temple. We can see the whole entire pilgrimage flowing all the way from the base of Gauri Sankara to the tip of India. For example, one cannot complete his or her journey without visiting Pasupati in the north and Rameswaram in the south. And we cannot imagine the completion of a journey without visiting the beautiful mountains of Nepal. They are not only the sources of water, but also the sources of humanity and human civilization. They have become the witness to our sobriety, witness to our humanity, to our love, to our compassion, and to our prosperity. We are so rich in our culture. This book tries to encapsulate very important vignettes of those shrines and places that connect us together, not only for one time, forever, for the generations to come. I can remember here how important we are as Guru Nanak, who is said to have visited Nepal in 1516 and is said to have lived here. How important it could have been those long days when he came all the way from India to Nepal and lived here. And he left his footprints, not footprints of only prophet or sage or leader, but also a great humanity behind for us all to follow, for again another civilization to be engaged with. Therefore, we are not simply talking in terms of nations, people, or political boundaries. We cannot end talking about our rich heritage, the heritage which cannot be inscripted, which cannot be written in a book, because book is too narrow to accommodate that richness, that treasury, which is unfathomable for us to explore, to enjoy, to cherish, and to share. Therefore, I would like to take this opportunity again to bring to light one reality. For this, I would like to give a credit to Mr. Vasudev Sastry also. He has, with his tremendous study, has come to the fore with his finding in very important Purana, Skanda Purana, that Nepal itself has four. We have only, for example, people usually go to Kailas, and we have 4 Kailas here in Nepal. According to Skanda Purana, the Kailas are in the east, Kanchenjunga. It is Sora Kailas, Golden Kailas, Sagarmatha, Sweta Kailas, White Kailas, Gauri Shankar, Maha Kailas, Great Kailas, Dhaulagiri, Dhaul Kailas. So all those 4 Kailas Yatra can only lead to the 5th Kailas, which lies in Tibet, China. Therefore, we have that treasury we have not been able to share with others. And maybe, according to that scripture, it says, without having the sight and visit to those places and having darshans of those Kailas, if we only go to single Kailas in Tibet, our journey, pilgrimage journey, would not be complete. Therefore, this is a very new finding. Of course, it's not a new finding, it's there for ages, lying there in the debris of the books, but not properly understood and realized and spread and communicated. So we should also try to communicate to the people. so that we are so rich. And Nepal also is very proud to have 4 dhamas. We have 4 dhamas in Nepal also, like Baraha Dham, Pasupat Dham, Mukti Dham, and Baidyanath Dham. This is how Nepal and India, for instance, Doleswar Mahadev, the great Pandit and sage from India himself came and told that the head of Kedarnath lies in Nepal, that is Doleswar. So many things are coming up, and people are telling intuitively through their knowledge, to their experiences, to their words of mouth. So let's try to spread this message that we are living in the sanctified world, the world where the religion never ends, humanity never perishes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you indeed, and to the entire team of Nepal Tourism Board for all the support, the great gesture, and the encouragement they have extended to us throughout the course of this part of the journey we have had. And yes, we are looking forward towards its continuity. Now, as I stated earlier, we have a lot of things to look forward from this evening. As we prepare the engagements on stage, this is hoping that you would enjoy the sumptuous delicacies and the beverages that are being served at your tables. You can also check the menus, which are placed very neatly in every table if you want to know about the delicacies. Of course. And then, yes, there are some exotic and innovative drinks that we are serving to you this evening. Some really, great blend of spirits and Nepali flavor. And if you want to know more about the beverages, there we have Mr. Tuladhar, and in the place where the beverage stand is placed, you could always talk to him towards the end of the evening. Now, coming to the engagements here at the floor, ladies and gentlemen, as stated by Madam Rana, the book that we all are so eagerly waiting to be placed at our tables and which we cannot hold it for long is indeed a labor of love and perseverance, and which brought together so many people and entities together. Nevertheless, nothing would have meant anything without the knowledge put into words by the scholars of both the countries. Ladies and gentlemen, can we hear a round of applause for the contributing scholars in the coffee book that we will be presenting to you tonight. And for now, I have the privilege of inviting up on the dais in turn some of the eminent scholars who are present with us tonight, as we look forward to getting some enlightenment from them as they talk about the journey and more. Each speaker has been allocated 5 minutes. However, you will certainly have much more time during the social after the formal engagements end. So first and foremost, may I invite Ms. Neera Mishra, who's a contributor on the Mahabharata and Ramayana circuit, India. Ms. Mishra calls herself a student emeritus of ancient Bharatiya civilization, culture, and itihas, and she's been working to create a deeper understanding of India's ancient culture and history by reviving the tangible and intangible heritages of India. So my pleasure of inviting Ms. Mishra to the podium.
Namaskar, Honorable Minister of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, Government of Nepal. Namaskar to His Excellency, the Ambassador of India to Nepal. Namaskar to Foreign Minister of Nepal, and to all the dignitaries, scholars, and eminent personalities. है प्रीत जहाँ की रीत सदा, मैं गीत वहाँ के गाती हूँ, भारत की रहने वाली हूँ, भारत की बात बताती हूँ. Honorable dignitaries, Bharat here means two things. There is a geographical area that we call Bharat. But as per our research, Bharat is the knowledge, the vehicle of knowledge that connects India, Nepal, and Southeast Asia. And my greatest of thanks to Srimati Ranaji, to Nikki, for providing me an opportunity to share my 20 years of research on something that had not been talked about, because we had been taught that our granthas are myths, and there is only kavya, and there is only adhyatma. Whereas, when you actually open these granthas, whether they are Puranas, whether they are Ramayana or Mahabharata, they are a storehouse of knowledge of geography, of itihas. Always philosophy comes when there have been major events in the journey of a civilizational culture. And that's what happened to both our countries. As we know, the Vedas are knowledge books of Gyan, Vigyan, and Ramayana is a sort of a testimony to the Ramraj, the welfare state, and Mahabharata is a book of peace. I have been fortunate to start this journey 20 years ago to make people aware what we have been deprived of, why we are not connected to our geospatial landscape of important places of spiritual awakening, important places of events that are narrated in our books. So that's what connected, and unless we connect to the geography, it is very difficult to connect to spirituality and to itihas. So that has been my little contribution. I'd like to take this opportunity to dispel something very critical that had been propagated across the world for many years, especially in our part of this nation, the geographical region, that the Mahabharata is an inauspicious book. And since I come from the land of Draupadi, which is my ancestral land for centuries, I wanted to understand what is Mahabharata actually is. So neither Maha means war, nor Bharat means war. So Mahabharata is a text, a narration of the greater Bharat, which is the vehicle of knowledge spread across centuries of civilizational research by our rishis, our scholars, which has been documented in different books. So my contribution to this book has been to identify important locations that will connect the two countries through this journey of spiritual tourism. I call it spiritual tourism because I feel spirit unites. Religion becomes a little sectarian, so I do not dispel anybody's ideas, but I feel that for me it has been a journey of spiritual awakening of places of historical importance, and that has been, I have covered Ramayana, I have covered Mahabharata, and to understand the history and geography, we have actually studied the absolute detailing of the geographical spaces mentioned in this and the astronomical dating to get to the date. There is another important aspect I'd like to clear this because I come from the land of Draupadi and as I Draupadi also, there is a very big misperception that she was the cause of the war. She was in the book, it's not mentioned she was present where Duryodhan fell. So neither she was present nor she saw, and neither she said, Handeka beta anda. So that is just to give you a feeling that Mahabharata is not Ashuk, which we were told for centuries it is. Just 10% of the book talks about the Dharma Yuddha. And I wanted to bring this out, and I'm so grateful to Nikki that I got this opportunity almost a year ago when they contacted me. Why it is important to know our connect? Because unless we know our spiritual oneness, across this Sanatan Sanskriti which arose from Prakriti. Now, Prakriti is also the Shakti power, Prakriti is also nature. So, if you see all our rituals, they are based on all these aspects of uniting us to the Prakriti, to the environment. And that is why when we talk of a language of spiritual connectivity between our two nations, and also these events and stories and locations where these events happened, it will definitely bring the people to people connect and enlighten us to get back to knowing our roots. And the moment we nourish our roots, the future of our civilization becomes stronger. So that has been my little contribution. And I'm so grateful once again that we have been able to do this, and we would like to be doing this in Delhi also. And our project that we have given to the minister, I've already apprised the Minister of Culture, I've already apprised the different chief secretaries, especially Uttar Pradesh, Mishra ji, and our culture tourism secretary, Shri Arvind ji. This is something very important happening, and the support of our ambassador here has been very critical in this. So thank you once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Mishra. Thank you indeed for your very, very valuable sharing and the great insights that you add to this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, please note that Ms. Mishra is an independent research scholar and is the founder chairperson of the Draupadi Dream Trust. Said that, we move on as we look forward to hearing from another eminent contributor who's contributed with the Sikh Circuit's India in the Coffee book. He's a multifaceted person with interest in divergent fields and has ventured to become an entrepreneur in automobile spare parts, which he is vigorously pursuing to date. A lifetime patron of Janakpuri religious institutions since 2000. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Sardar Rajendra Singh Chadha.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed it's a privileged moment for me to be amongst all you. At the outset, I would seek apology for having a bad throat for the last few days, for which I am so sorry. When I was assigned this job of writing about Sixth Circuit on this coffee table book, I didn't know how to start and how to end, because it is indeed a vast phenomena that I had to cover. But I was assisted in completing this by people from Nikki, especially Ms. Rupi Singh and Lusa. I was thrilled that I was doing this for a cause. The Indo-Nepalese tourism has vast potential. This is a small topic that I did, but these two countries are so close, geographically, physically, and language also is no barrier. Nepalese can understand Hindi very well. They are the real Hindu state of the world. Indian and Nepalese can share so many other cultural activities. Regarding the Sixth Circuit, may I tell you that more than ever before, the human condition is beset by violence, discrimination, tyranny, and exploitation of poor. This has to be reduced. This can be reduced. I am sure this coffee table book will become a means of doing something. In India, if people come to know that Guru Nanak came to Nepal, and there are 3 historical Gurdwaras in Nepal, commemorating Guru Nanak's visit. I am sure people will come in large numbers. There is no publicity for this. But one thing is there. When I came here yesterday, I was longing to visit these places. I could visit only two Gurdwaras. One was Nanak Mutt. The minister is here. I will request him that I was told that 200 acres of land was with this Gurdwara, and now it is barely 4 acres. And that too, when I visit the Gurdwara, there was an old scripture, handwritten scripture of Guru Granth Sahib, which I went through today. People from India will queue up to see this handwritten scripture. But I don't know, there is no publicity. And when people will know that 200 acres of land has been reduced to 4 acres and the case is in the Supreme Court, and that 4 acres also, when I visited the Gurdwara, there is some barrier in between. It was locked from inside. And I was the only person and one companion of mine who were in the Gurdwara. On the other side, I don't know what was there, but some bhajans were going on. And who was sitting, and I was told that this is the Gurdwara premises. I hope the minister will look into this and help. We can represent the case again with the minister. Since it is in the Supreme Court, you can also help us. Coming to my assignment, I was assigned the job of writing something on the Indian side of Sikh Gurdwaras. There are hundreds and thousands of Gurdwaras in India. I don't know how to write and what to write. I chose to write first on the 5 takhats. We call them takhats in Sikhism. They are the 5 most prominent places of Sikh religion. First is Akal Takht Sahib, which is in Amritsar. Then there is Kesgarh Sahib, which is Anandpur Sahib. Then Harimandir Ji Sahib, Patna Sahib. One is Hazur Sahib, Nanded in Maharashtra. And the last one is in Punjab, called Damdama Sahib. I first wrote on these 5 spiritual seats of Sikh religion. And then coming to Delhi, Delhi has also several historical places. We have 9 Gurdwaras depicting different pages of Sikh history. So I try to cover a few of them. There are so many Gurdwaras in Punjab and other states of India that can be accommodated. But since my brief was that you have to be very brief and write only this much, so I try to write whatever I had to. Coming to Sikhs, I know people world over know how generous this community is. If you allow us, you can see a huge building at Gurdwara Nanak Mutt. Within a span of 1 year, I can assure you, I can bring thousands and thousands of pilgrims from India, and they will build the Gurdwara at their own cost. And once that Gurdwara is built, I am sure people will throng this place from all over the world. Once there is a Gurdwara commemorating Guru Nanak, people will love to visit it. Sikhs go to Pakistan. You know, visas are very, very limited. We are given, I think, 300 something for Delhi, 500 something for Punjab. But once there is no visa problem, there is no other restriction, so I don't think there should be a dearth of visitors here. So it can be a very, very big tourism sector if you start this. So I would request Minister here to look into it and see by himself that to promote tourism, Sikhism and this Sikh sector which you have assigned to me, I can give you more assistance on this, and this will be a very big factor. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you amidst us tonight. And thank you for bringing such valued resourcefulness to the evening, and of course, a gift in the form of the book. Said that, ladies and gentlemen, we do hope that you also expect a lot more out of this evening. This was we just heard from the scholars from the Indian side. We will be hearing from the scholars, the contributors from the Nepali side, a little later in the evening. For now, allow me to take you straight to the major engagement of the evening that we all are here for, and that is, of course, the launch of the book. Now, reaping from the common aspirations reflected from among the members in the audience, and of course the distinguished speakers and all the eminent personalities seated here, I would want to reiterate that religious and spiritual tourism are an imperative aspect of tourism for Nepal and, of course, for India. And highlighting this very link between India and Nepal is essential in enhancing the relations, is a belief that Nikki and the Embassy of India have carried forward together. And we thought a coffee table book giving prominence to these very circuits would be an innovative and crucial way to do this. So to help realize this thought into reality, ladies and gentlemen, join me in inviting up on the stage for the formal launch of the book our chief guest, the Honorable Minister, Mr. Sudan Kirati, accompanied by His Excellency Mr. Naveen Srivastav, the Indian Ambassador to Nepal, the Foreign Secretary, Mr. Bharat Paudal, and the President of Nikki, Mrs. Srijana Rana. A very warm welcome to all the dignitaries up on stage. The book shall now be presented to our dignitaries for the formal launch. It is, for your knowledge, ladies and gentlemen, a brief on the research, identification, and promotion of religious and spiritual circuits in Nepal and India. A venture of Nikki, the Embassy of India in Nepal, the Embassy of Nepal to India, Nepal Tourism Board, and a host of other member organizations, ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you the religious and spiritual circuits, Nepal and India, a coffee table book. Thank you so much, dignitaries, for the physical launch of the book. If I may invite all our dignitaries to kindly descend down the stage and take your respective seats. As I thank all our dignitaries for the honor, may I request our Honorable Minister to kindly May I request the Honorable Minister to kindly take his seat. We have had the physical launch, ladies and gentlemen, and just to take you through digitally, let us also mark a digital launch, and for this, may I draw your attention towards the screen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was our effort of giving you a sneak peek into the very picturesque, colorful, and resourceful book on the religious and spiritual circuits in Nepal and India, which is our bid to support the efforts in promoting bilateral tourism across the two friend nations. The formalities done, we would want to take a moment to thank one more time to all the contributors and the supporting hands who are here with us and who could not make it tonight. Thank you indeed. And the formalities done to mark this occasion, may I now invite our chief guest, the Honorable Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, to address this convergence on this very, very important occasion.
धन्यवाद कार्यक्रम सञ्चालिकाज्यू। आजको यस कार्यक्रमका सभाध्यक्ष तथा नेपाल भारत उद्योग वाणिज्य सङ्घका अध्यक्ष श्रीमती सृजना राणाज्यू, भारतीय राजदूत महामहिम श्री नवीन श्रीवास्तवज्यू, यस पुस्तकमा आफ्नो योगदान गर्नुभएका विज्ञज्यूहरू, उपस्थित मित्र राष्ट्र भारतबाट पाल्नुभएका विशेष अतिथिज्यूहरू, उपस्थित सम्पूर्ण आगन्तुक विशिष्ट महानुभावहरू एवं पत्रकार साथीहरू, नेपाल भारत बीचको सम्बन्धको चर्चा असाध्य पुरानो हुनका साथै ऋषि मुनिहरूको पालादेखिको सम्बन्ध, यसबारे हामीले जे जति बोले पनि र चर्चा गरे पनि कमै हुन्छ। अत्यन्त घनिष्ठ सांस्कृतिक, सामाजिक, व्यापारिक मात्रै नभएर एक प्रकारले पारिवारिक जस्तै पनि हामी दुई देश बीचको सम्बन्ध छ। वर्तमान समयमा हाम्रो सम्बन्ध अत्यन्तै सौहार्दपूर्ण छ। दुई देश बीचको खुल्ला सिमानाले हामीलाई जोडेको छ। दुवै देशका नागरिकहरूको सम्बन्ध सामाजिक, सांस्कृतिक तथा पारिवारिक रहेको छ। त्यसैले नेपाल र भारत बीचको आवागमन सहज छ। बिना पासपोर्ट र बिना भिसा आउन जान सकिने व्यवस्था छ, जुन संसारकै लागि अनुपम एक उदाहरणीय विषय पनि हो। नेपाल र भारतको सम्बन्ध हवाई मार्ग, स्थल मार्ग मात्र नभई अब नयाँ आयामहरू पनि बिस्तारै थपिँदैछ। रेल सेवाले यो आयामलाई थप टेवा दिने नै छ। त्यस्तै यसमा अहिले अझ थप विस्तारका सम्बन्धमा विचार हुँदैछ भने जलमार्ग पनि अर्को आयाम हुन सक्छ, जसले नेपाल र भारतको प्राचीनकालीन सम्बन्धलाई थप उचाइमा पुर्याउने म आफूलाई विश्वास लागेको छ। नेपाल भारत उद्योग वाणिज्य सङ्घको अगुवाईमा प्रकाशित अर्थात् प्रकाशनमा आएको यो कफी टेबल पुस्तकमा समावेश गरिएका दुई देशका विभिन्न धार्मिक, सांस्कृतिक स्थलहरूले नेपाल र यस्तै भारतका धार्मिक पर्यटकहरूको लागि थप उत्सुकता जगाउने छ भन्ने, धार्मिक स्थल, सांस्कृतिक स्थलको प्रबन्धन र विकास गर्नमा यसले योगदान दिनेमा म विश्वस्त छु। विशेष गरी सांस्कृतिक र पर्यटनसँग सम्बन्धित पुस्तक भएको कारण पनि यसको प्रकाशन गरेर दुई देश बीचको सम्बन्धलाई अझ प्रगाढ बनाउने तथा नेपालकै पर्यटन क्षेत्रलाई चलायमान गर्न प्रयास गरेकोमा नेपाल भारत उद्योग वाणिज्य सङ्घका अध्यक्ष सृजना राणा लगायत नेपाल भारत उद्योग वाणिज्य सङ्घलाई विशेष धन्यवाद साथै बधाई पनि दिन चाहन्छु। नेपालको पर्यटकको कुरा गर्दा सङ्ख्यात्मक रूपमै पनि भारतीय पर्यटकहरूको सङ्ख्या पहिलो स्थानमा छ। यसले नेपालको पर्यटन क्षेत्र र पर्यटन व्यवसायहरूलाई निकै उत्साह भरेको छ। सङ्घद्वारा प्रकाशित यस कफी टेबल पुस्तकमा जुन 5वटा सर्किटको कुरा उल्लेख गरिएको छ, जस्तो कि शिवशक्ति सर्किट, महाभारत सर्किट, रामायण सर्किट, बुद्धिस्ट सर्किट अनि धेरैलाई नौलो लाग्न सक्ने सिख सर्किट, यी सबैले हामी दुई देशका नागरिकहरूलाई अझ नजिकै सहयोग गर्ने अपेक्षा गरेको छु, जसले गर्दा पनि नेपाल र भारत बीचको सम्बन्ध अझ सुमधुर सौहार्दपूर्ण हुनेछ भन्ने कुरा विश्वास लिएको छु र यसो भन्दै मेरो भनाइ अन्त गर्दछु। धन्यवाद।
थ्याङ्क यू अनरेबल मिनिस्टर। म माननीय मन्त्रीज्यूलाई एकैछिन मञ्चमा रहिदिनु हुन अनुरोध गर्दछु। एउटा सानो औपचारिकता, जुन समय आफ्नो अत्यन्तै व्यस्तताका बावजुद पनि जुन समय यहाँले हामीलाई प्रदान गर्नुभएको छ, त्यसको कृतज्ञता स्वरूप निकीको तर्फबाट हामी एउटा टोकन अफ एप्रिसिएसन प्रस्तुत गर्दैछौँ माननीय मन्त्रीज्यूमा। यसका लागि निकीका प्रेसिडेन्ट श्रीमती सृजना राणाज्यूलाई म मञ्चमा आमन्त्रण गर्न चाहन्छु। दिस इज एन एप्रिसिएसन फर द भ्यालुएबल टाइम, the encouragement and the support bestowed by the government of Nepal and reflected in the presence of the Honorable Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for sparing with us your valuable time, for acknowledging the unique relations between our two countries, and especially for your acknowledgement of our efforts to promoting bilateral ties through tourism. Thank you one more time. यससँगै म कार्यक्रमलाई अगाडि बढाउने अनुमति चाहन्छु। May I now have the privilege of inviting up on the dais His Excellency, the Ambassador of India to Nepal, Mr. Naveen Srivastava, to share with us his thoughts on this very, very august occasion.
Well, Honorable Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation of Nepal, who has just now departed, Mr. Sudan Kirati-ji, Foreign Secretary of Nepal, Mr. Bharatraj Paudyal-ji, President, Nepal India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Srimati Srijana Rana, officials from Nepal Tourist Board, distinguished experts who have contributed to the book that was just launched, ladies, gentlemen, friends of India and Nepal, thank you for inviting me this evening and allowing me to join you for this event, which is aimed at promoting tourism between India and Nepal. As we just now saw, it is also a special occasion because the labor of love between Nikki and the NTB, we formally launched the coffee table book on the religious circuits between our two countries, which cover 5 different circuits related to Ramayana, Mahabharata, Shiva Shakti, Buddhism, the life of Guru Nanak. These circuits reflect our shared cultural and religious heritage and will serve as an essential guide for tourists and for pilgrims alike. As I mentioned, this book is a joint effort. It is an important contribution, a contribution made by a collaborative effort between Indian and Nepalese experts, which I am hopeful will not only contribute to tourism, but will also help promote people-to-people linkages between our two countries. And moreover, I hope it will lead to greater tourist flows from third countries visiting Nepal as also India. The government of India has always been very supportive of promoting tourism between our two countries and taking initiatives for that purpose. The open border that India and Nepal have, with no requirements of visa, is a great facilitator for promoting people-to-people exchanges. In the last few years, Government of India has taken several other initiatives to promote connectivity and make it easier for the people of two countries to travel to each other's land. They've also made initiatives to allow people to transact with each other much more easily. Acceptance of RuPay card since last year in India, in Nepal, is one such initiative. And today we are working with the Nepal Rashtra Bank to see if we can look at collaborating on the UPI payments in Nepal. I certainly hope this will lead to greater exchange of tourist traffic between two peoples. Last year, you also saw former Prime Minister Deoba visit India, and he, along with Prime Minister Modi, launched the Jayanagar-Kurtha leg of the railways, a railway which is quite popular both in India and in Nepal, and connects the land and the city of Janakpur, which is where many of the Indian pilgrims come regularly. When Prime Minister Modi had visited Nepal in 2018, he had also announced a Ramayana circuit, which would help people not just from India, but around the world to come to Nepal and share and enjoy and experience the shared cultural and civilizational heritage. I am certainly hopeful that the government of Nepal will soon send to us a Ramayana circuit proposal to be done by the government of India. Ms. Rana mentioned earlier in the evening about the Ramayana Yatra trains and the Bharat Gaurav tourist train, which started last year, and they connect well-known tourist sites such as Janakpur Dham in Nepal with Varanasi and Ayodhya in India. Last year, the train had brought in 500 Indian tourists. We hope it will bring in many more Indian tourists this year. We are also hopeful that, spurred by this book, there will be other initiatives taken to develop these circuits, whether it is Buddhism circuit or Sikhism circuit in Nepal. As the speaker just now mentioned, if the Gurdwara is established in Nepal, it will help attract a large number of Sikh tourists, not just from India, but across the world over. So we would certainly look forward to Government of Nepal facilitating the reconstruction and rehabilitation of a Gurdwara in Nepal. I'd also like to touch upon briefly on the bilateral cooperation which we are undertaking for reconstruction of heritage sites. For instance, in 2021, Government of India has signed 3 agreements with Government of Nepal for conservation and retrofitting of Seto Machindranath Temple in Kathmandu, construction of a Dharamshala in Buddha Nilkantha, and conservation and development of Kumari Chen and Kumari Nivas. These projects are part of the $50 million reconstruction assistance that Government of India is providing to Government of Nepal. As the Minister just now said, India remains one of the main source of tourism for Nepal. And for us, it is a matter of pride that India does occupy number 1 position in the total tourist traffic which comes to Nepal. Last year, in 2022, Indian tourists accounted for about 34% of the total tourist arrivals in Nepal. And I am confident that as we go into a post-COVID-19 phase, there will be an increasing number of Indian tourists coming to Nepal, spurred by various initiatives that have been taken, including the launch of this book today. Before I close, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the organizers, the Nepal India Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Srijana Rana. Without her constant prodding and pushing, we wouldn't have moved. The governments anyway take very much time to move at all, if they move. The Nepal Tourism Board, all the other stakeholders involved in this project, the experts who contributed their time, their effort, and their knowledge to be shared with all of us. Your hard work and it's your dedication which has made this event possible. And it is an example of the spirit of cooperation and friendship that exists between our two people and two nations. The Embassy of India will continue to support all such initiatives in the future too. Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your gracious presence tonight amidst us today. And of course, for the great collaboration, for the trust you've had, for your relentless and constant encouragement and support, and of course, for the greater vision that you behold. Thank you one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the other engagements now. Such a respite it is, I'm sure, for all of us to see the buds of spring now that the winter hues have subsided. And here we come together. Isn't it beautiful, this coming together, as we come here together to rekindle a bond that has been special and the closest between our two nations. All we want this evening, tonight, is for you all to relax and enjoy the company, the culture, the bond that we've cherished for ages. And we only hope you get the feel, the bits of Nepali culture, as well as the cultural cuisines and customs, as we've tried to put together to honor the essence of this event. And we do hope that you're enjoying the delicacies being served as well. May I now present in front of you a cultural treat which is depicting the native farmer community of the Kathmandu Valley, which is also rich for its immense culture and customs. Youths clad in traditional costumes dance to the tunes of their ethnic music during festivities and especially during the harvest seasons. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the Dhimi dance of the Kathmandu Valley. you. Thank you so much to the very graceful artist. Thank you for adding all the beauty to this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a matter of great pleasure for us to be able to share that, marking the truest essence of this collaboration. His Excellency, the Ambassador of Nepal to India, Dr. Shankar Sharma, has announced to host a similar ceremony in New Delhi to launch this book in the Indian capital. And yes, I reiterate, in the truest essence of this collaboration. And now to further take you through the insights and the knowledge of the book, allow me now to introduce to you two of the contributing scholars from the Nepali side who will be sharing their journey and thoughts in front of us now. First and foremost, my pleasure of inviting up on stage a cultural historian who's specialized in Buddhism, South Asian and Himalayan culture, history and society, a gold medalist from Tribhuvan University and a PhD from Columbia University of the United States, Dr. Ramesh Dhungel, who has contributed the Mahabharata Circuit Nepal part to the coffee table book.
Good evening. Madam President, Honorable Minister is gone already, but I would like to address because with honor, Excellency Ambassador, our Foreign Secretary, dignitaries coming from all the way from Uttarakhand, India, my colleague scholars, contributors. We discussed this evening about what is Mahabharata. Our friend Mishraji mentioned that, discussed about that. I just wanted to add few more things that about the cultural geography of the region. The term Jambudip or Bharatkhanda or Bharata is nothing other than the cultural geography of the region. That is one entity. Jambudip or Bharatkhanda is one entity under which our country, Nepal, falls. And these cultural heritages developed and being practiced in the region. As a scholar of Nepali culture or history, I find some very interesting historical traces that Nepal has contributed for those great spiritual traditions and human cultural traditions to preserve those. We can recall that Nepal, Siddhartha was born in the territory, within the territory of Nepal, but he was enlightened in India. And you know, when Buddhism had hardship, there was a big problem to preserve that Buddhism in India. Because of the international invasion, our Indian friends had a hard time to preserve those very precious cultures. And Nepal very seriously maintained that to preserve that culture. With sources, with scriptures, with traditions and practices. Here comes the story of Mahabharata as well. We cannot differentiate the practitioners of Mahabharata traditions and spiritual centers between India and Nepal. So many places in Nepal with belief systems. We don't know. We have two systems of narrating history. One is very subjective tradition, and the other one is objective one, which we call sometimes as Eurocentric. And under Eurocentric system, we have to follow the traditions of archaeological evidences, remains, actual facts and factual data. But we have another part, very great part for society and nations like ours, India and Nepal, where thousands of years of human cultures are preserved in this continent. The subjective aspect of analysis. And subjective brings faith, practices, belief system. And we don't know whether Pandavas visited on foot here and there in Nepal. We don't know archaeologically. But with our belief system, yes, they did it. We have Arjundhara right here in Nepal Tarai. We have Kichak Badh in Nepal Tarai. We have Baraha Kshetra, where Pandavas had exercised. We have so many places. We have all these 4, dhamas we discussed earlier. So, and we have maintained Mahabharata traditions, performing Mahabharata in doubles of Kathmandu Valley from time immemorial. We have been doing that. That means we don't need to look at for archaeology at this particular purpose. If faith and practices are there, we have Mahabharata, dazzling Mahabharata right around here inside the country. And there are theoretical issues, broader cultural, geographical issues. We talk about Hindu Kush Himalaya. One time when I was presenting in Delhi, one very prominent person, you might have heard his name, Bhagavad Khushyari ji was there. And I mentioned about one Dhama's story. That is about Nainital. Nainital in India and Chainpur, Chandrapur Peeth in Nepal. Very surprisingly, Shiva Purana and Kedar Khanda mentions that Mata Sati Devi's left eye was fallen in Nainital. That's why Naina Devi Mandir is there. And there is a board, ye pavitra, o pavitra bhumi hai, jahan Mata Sati Devi ka baएं आँख पतन हुई थी. We have here in Nepal, in Chainpur, Chandrapur Peeth, Prakasheshwar Mahadev is there, and right eye was fallen there. That traces in Skanda Puran and Sostani Vratakatha. And I approached and requested Bhagavatji, our ancestors have done quite a lot to tie between two countries with those texts and the practices. But where are we? We are in a lost stage. And India is a great land. We talk about Kailas. This morning, earlier we discussed about Kailas. And we didn't have problem to travel to Kailas that time, both for Indians and Nepalis. But situation has changed. Sometimes if you think seriously, India's scholarship through spiritual traditions was great in the continent. But somewhere around is being lost somehow. So we can put, again, joint effort to bring that back and revitalize. So book is here. You can go through my article. This is not complete. We have done in a haste. When I started writing this article, this section, I was not pretty sure what I would be writing. But when I entered into the subject matter, I had quite many things to do. So those things can be done later from India or Nepal or with joining hands together. So having said this, I would like to conclude because my time is only 5 minutes. I don't want to cross that border. So I say thank you again for the organizers and Nikki and Madam President and all involved in this process. This is a great beginning. This is a great beginning only, so we can go further completing the necessary job in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, first of all, for your thoughtfulness. Secondly, for all the energy and the drive that you bring in. And of course, for the knowledge and your contribution. Said that, ladies and gentlemen, we move ahead. And it's my pleasure to be inviting up on stage our final scholar who's present with us tonight, who's contributed the Shiva Shakti and Ramayana circuits part in the book. He is a renowned Nepali scholar in the field of astrology and holds an Acharya in Siddhanta Jyotish and a PhD in astrology from Sampurananda Sanskrit University from Varanasi, India. He has established himself as an expert in his field, and apart from his impressive academic qualifications, he's also a prolific author. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in inviting up on stage Dr. Vasudev Krishna Sastri, also known as Vasudev Koirala.
Om Vishwani Deva Savitara Duritani Parasuva Jadbhadran Tanna Suva Samadaraniya Shabadakshi Mahodaya Atra Upasthita Sarvesham Naumi Savaiलाई नमस्कार शुभ सन्ध्या सबैलाई नमस्कार खै त उताबाट केही आवाजै आएन सबैलाई नमस्कार यो हाम्रो परम्परा हो नेपालीहरूको हामी सबैलाई के भन्छौं नमस्कार भन्छौं यो नि पर्यटन हो यो पनि तीर्थ हो जब हामीले दुई हात जोडेर नमस्कार गर्छौं त्यो तपाई भित्रको परमात्मालाई नमस्कार गर्छौं आफू भित्रको परमात्मालाई नमस्कार गर्छौं सबैलाई नमस्कार गर्छौं यसकारणले सन्ध्याकालीन नमस्कार छ आदरणीय सृजना राणा दिदीज्यू जसले निरन्तर नेतृत्व यो वरद नेतृत्वले यो ग्रन्थ निर्माण हुन सक्यो यसमा सम्पूर्ण निक्कीको टिमलाई हार्दिक बधाई त्यसमा मेरो पनि रामायण सर्किट र शिवशक्ति सर्किटमा सानो मेरो योगदानले सानो आरम्भले हाम्रो आदरणीय पर्यटन बोर्डका लक्ष्मण सरले भनिसक्नु भएको छ शिवशक्ति सर्किटको जुन क्रम छ यो वास्तवमा यति मौलिक छ आर्ष पुराणमा यसको बारेमा वर्णन गरेको पाइयो स्कन्द पुराणमा 4 कैलाश नेपालमा रहेको चर्चा पाइयो यो विषय त एउटा छँदैछ तर शिवशक्ति सर्किट सतीदेवीको अङ्ग पतन जहाँ जहाँ भयो 54 वटा शक्तिपीठहरू छन् यसमा शक्तिपीठहरूको सन्दर्भको चर्चा यहाँ राखिएको छ र नेपालमा भएका अन्य शक्तिपीठहरू गुहेश्वरी दन्तकाली र साथसाथै कर्णाक्षी हाम्रो डाक्टर ढुङ्गेलले भनिसक्नु भएको छ त्यो नैनादेवी नयनाक्षी बाहेक अन्य शक्तिपीठहरू स्वयम्भू शक्तिपीठहरू नेपालमा छन् नेपालका हिमशृङ्खलाहरू जति छन् यी सारा शिवमय छन् किनकि कैलाश 4 वटा यही छन् र भगवान शिव र पार्वतीको संवादमा सारा शास्त्रहरू छन् त्यसकारणले यो धर्म संवादको क्रम पार्वती र शिवको संवादमा छ तीर्थ र पर्यटन हाम्रो मौलिक परम्परा हो पुराणको कालमा तपाई पुराणमा जानु हो भने सम्पूर्ण यो भेगमा सप्त गण्डकी सप्त कोशी र सप्त कर्णाली 7 वटा नदी 21 वटा नदीको यो देश तीर्थ पर्यटन अध्यात्म र आध्यात्मिक ऊर्जाको देश हो यो देशको आध्यात्मिक ऊर्जा आज संसारभरि जति पनि महान सिद्धहरू गुरुहरू हुनुभयो चाहे नानक आदि गुरु हुनुहुन्छ साथै अन्य 88,000 ऋषिहरू र स्कन्द कुमारदेखि लिएर जति पनि ऋषिहरू हुनुहुन्छ यहाँसम्म कि शाक्यमुनि बुद्ध पनि यो आध्यात्मिक ऊर्जाको भूमिबाट संसारलाई एउटा दिव्य ज्ञान दिन सक्नुभयो त्यो अपदिपो भव भन्नुभयो त्यसकारणले पर्यटनको सन्दर्भमा नेपालले दुनियाँलाई धेरै थोक दिन सक्छ यो शिवशक्ति सर्किट पनि एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण अङ्ग हो यसमा किनकि शिवशक्ति सर्किट हाम्रो नेपालको र भारतका जति पनि शक्तिपीठहरू छन् र नेपालको शक्तिपीठहरूलाई जोडेर शिवशक्ति द्वादश ज्योतिर्लिङ्ग र सम्पूर्ण द्वादश ज्योतिर्लिङ्गको शिरोभाग भगवान पशुपतिनाथलाई भनिन्छ पशुपतिनाथ सम्पूर्ण देवताहरूको ब्रेन मस्तिष्क भनिएको छ त्यो मस्तिष्क आज सुतेको छ नेपालको मस्तिष्क आज सुतेको छ अब हामी यो सारा आध्यात्मिक ऊर्जाले नेपालीको मस्तिष्क जाग्यो भने यहाँ पर्यटन, अर्थशास्त्र, अर्थतन्त्र, धर्मशास्त्र, सनातन संस्कृति, मान्यता, पर्यटन, तीर्थ सारा आयामहरू तरङ्गित हुन्छन्। त्यस कारणले यो राष्ट्रको जागरण पर्यटनबाट छ र भारतका 12 ज्योतिर्लिङ्ग, भगवान पशुपतिनाथ, 4 कैलाश र शिवशक्तिको सर्किट र हाम्रा स्वयम्भू शक्तिपीठहरू छन्। जो शक्तिपीठ नेपालमा 100 भन्दा धेरै शक्तिपीठहरू छन्। ती शक्तिपीठहरूलाई लिएर यो ग्रन्थमा केही यो शास्त्रीय आयाममा राखेर यो ग्रन्थ तयार पारिएको छ। यो आरम्भ हो। यस कारणले श्री गणेशाय नमः हो, यो शुभारम्भ हो। आगामी दिनमा धेरै अनुसन्धान गर्दै जानेछौँ। यस कारणले गर्दा यो सारा तीर्थ पर्यटनको सन्दर्भलाई जोडेर हाम्रा मन्त्रीज्यू गइसक्नुभयो। मन्त्रीजीलाई केही भन्ने थियो, अवश्य पनि पर्यटन बोर्डका मित्रहरू, साथसाथै विभिन्न क्षेत्रका विशिष्ट विज्ञहरू, पत्रकार मित्रहरू, अब हामी सबैले यो प्रचार प्रसारलाई अगाडि बढौँ भन्दै सबैलाई हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त गर्न चाहन्छु। सबैको जय होस् र हामी सबैको कल्याण होस् र हामी वास्तव पर्यटनबाट राष्ट्रको समृद्धि सम्भव छ। अस्तु भवतु सब्ब मङ्गलम।
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your very, very insightful and knowledgeable words and discourse, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, reflecting from the very thoughts of our scholars, certainly no beginning is complete. The journey is what will justify the actions that were so, so needed. So as we look forward towards a great journey ahead together with all the members of the stakeholder community, let us take a moment as we sit together here to extend our gratitude to all the contributors that helped us realize this vision and a dream. So amidst this ceremony, we are pleased to present a token of honor and appreciation to the contributing scholars and the key people who got things rolling along this tedious but very, very interesting and important, knowledgeable journey. May I invite up on stage the NICI president to kindly grace the stage as we make an effort to make this presentation of the honor to the scholars who are present with us today, and certainly do extend our appreciation in words to those who could not make it tonight. Inviting up on stage to receive the honor, first and foremost, Ms. Nirja Mishra. With all our respects, gratitude, and appreciation for the great, great contribution and the value that you bring to this venture. Nikki, together with the Embassy of India and the host of the contributors and supporters, this is a presentation to Ms. Nirja Mishra. Mr. Rajinder Singh Chadda.
One important sentence. Our Honorable Prime Minister has been now recently speaking about women-led development, and we are very happy. A loud applause to the Vidushi of Nepal for the women-led development in the field of cultural tourism.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And it is with great honor and privilege that we make a presentation of this honor to Mr. Rajinder Singh Chadda, the contributor of the Sikh Circuit, India, Dr. Basudev Sastry, it's a matter of great pleasure and honor for us to be making this presentation of honor to Dr. Basudev Sastry for the great contribution that he's made to this venture. To Dr. Ramesh Dhungel. Thank you, sir. Thank you indeed for all the resources and value that you have added to the book. Thank you one more time. And now a token of appreciation to the key people who got things rolling. Mr. Gyanendra Sapkota. Can we have you up on stage, please? Without these key people who were very, very important, key in bringing all the elements, people, and efforts together. This is with immense gratitude and honor that we make a presentation of this token of appreciation to Mr. Gyanendra Sapkota. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ms. Luja Mathema. The very deserving Ms. Luja Mathema, wherever you are. Certainly wouldn't have been possible without these key people. Ms. Luja Mathema, immense gratitude and appreciation to all your great efforts. Mr. Bikram Mazumdar. Mr. Bikram Majumdar is not here to receive it. And yes, thank you, Madam President. As our scholar just said, thank you for bringing all this together and really becoming an exemplary figure of women capability and leadership. So that, ladies and gentlemen, we are now arriving almost to the end of this evening. And now to extend the vote of thanks, may I invite up on stage the Vice President of Nepal India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Sunil Kesi.
Thank you, Sivaniji. Chairperson of the ceremony and my President, Srijana Ranaji. Chief Guest, Honorable Minister for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, Mr. Sudan Kiratiji, who already departed. Also, Mr. Bharadraj Paudilji, Foreign Secretary of Nepal, who already departed, but we have a huge respect to both of them. Also, His Excellency Ambassador Naveen Srivastavaji, who also departed, but our dear friend, Deputy Chief of Mission is here, and other colleagues. Former ambassadors of Nepal to India and Japan, high officials of diplomatic missions in Nepal, President, past presidents, office bearers of various chambers and associations in Nepal, special guests from the Department of Tourism from various states of India and also from Nepal, eminent guests, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. Today I am very much pleased to bid the vote of thanks to this very august gathering. Very good evening. Apart from geographical proximity and open borders, we all know and discussed in many forums in Nepal and India about the cultural, traditional, religious and socio-economic similarities between the two countries, and since time immemorial. And I think now there is no need of reiterating it. The first meeting of the G2G Joint Working Group between Nepal and India was held in New Delhi in 2015 to take the joint initiative for promotion of bilateral tourism. Following the decisions of the first JWG meeting, the second JWG meeting was held on 6 July 2018 in Kathmandu with the strong follow-up and initiation taken by convener of the Tourism Promotion Committee at NICI, Madam President Ms. Srijana Rana, and her team at NICI Secretariat for the coordination among the Ministry for Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, as well as the private sectors from Nepal and India. One of the agenda of the meeting of second JWG meeting was to promote bilateral tourism through identification of various religious and spiritual sites in Nepal and India, so that people at both sides willing to travel feel easy to identify those sites in a logical way, in consultation with the experts from Nepal and India, and also serve the purpose of bilateral tourism promotion. The other agenda of the second JWG meeting were overland and air travel, joint marketing and promotion, infrastructure development, inclusion of Nepal in the Live Travel Concession list of Government of India for their travel staffs, promotion of adventure tourism, identify area of cooperation for human resource development in tourism sectors and exchange in terms in this field, and share the list of medical facilities in the border points of Nepal and India. At this moment, I would like to thank the Embassy of India in Kathmandu for inspiring NICI, being the most concerned organization to implement the decision to bring out a coffee table book on religious and spiritual sites in both countries with needful support. In this connection, NICI also joined hands with the Embassy of Nepal in New Delhi and the Tourism Board of Nepal for the book. It took more than 2 years to bring the initiative into reality. During the preparation and consultation, 5 circuits were considered to cover in this book: Ramayana Circuit, Mahabharata Circuit, Shiva Shakti Circuit, Buddha Circuit, and Sikh, in which Madam President has already mentioned in her welcome remarks. And most of us in this August gathering are familiar with and also been at some of those holy shrines. I would like to extend my warmest thanks for immense contributors to Dr. Basudev Krishna Shastri for the Ramayana and Shiva Shakti circuits in Nepal, Madam Neera Mishra ji from India for the Ramayana and Mahabharata circuits in India, Dr. Ramesh Dhungel for Mahabharata in Nepal, Acharya Sri Tik Narayan Upadhyay and Professor Dr. Hari Prasad Adhikari ji for Shiva Shakti circuit in India, as well as Mr. Bikram Pandey Kazi ji for the Buddhist circuit in Nepal and Mr. Deepak Anand for Buddhist circuit in India, Mr. Gyani Guruvaksha Singh for Sikh circuit in Nepal and Mr. Rajendra Singh Chadha for Sikh circuit in Nepal. And I personally thanks for their great contribution. Also, Rupi Singh from Nepal, Ms. Kiran Sandhya, Sardar Pirtam, Mr. Anil Thamarji also. Ultimately, Nikki has been successful in bringing out the book. At this moment, I would also like to thank His Excellency Ambassador of India, Sri Navin Srivastava, former Ambassador of India to Nepal and now the Foreign Secretary of India, Sri Binay Mohan Quatraji, DCM Sri Prasanna Srivastava, and former DCM Madam Nagma Si Kampa, former Councillor Commerce Sri Abhishek Upadhyay, Second Secretary Commerce Sri Suman Sekharji, and Sri Kapidoj Pratap Singh ji, who was a former Commerce Secretary. As well as I would like to thank Mr. Pankaj Joshi for the kind cooperation with the Chamber, the entire team at the Embassy of India in Kathmandu for inspiring Nikki with the needful support. I would also like to thank His Excellency Ambassador of Nepal to India, Dr. Shankar Sharma, Minister Economic Councillor Neeta Pokhrelji at the Embassy of India, as well as Dr. Dhananjay Regmi, Chief Executive Officer of Nepal Tourism Board, Nikki members, joint ventures in Nepal for their immense support to bring out the book, namely alphabetic order, Arunachal Pradesh Power Company Private Limited, Asian Thai Foods Private Limited, Vaibhav Power Nepal Limited, Davar Nepal Private Limited, Nepal Airlines Corporation, Nepal Oil Corporation, Nepal SBI Bank, Kumar Sreshta Nirman Seva, KL Group of Industries, Morang Auto Works, Mountain Infra Company Limited, National Insurance Company, Samantra Group, Sarma and Company Private Limited, Surya Nepal Private Limited. I'm confident that the coffee table book will be a masterpiece for the existing and upcoming generation in Nepal and India who are dedicated in preserving their religion and culture and promote bilateral tourism in the days to come. As a part of today's program for tourist promotion between the two countries, tomorrow we have B2B meeting between the delegates of tour operators from India and Nepal. Now I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to Honorable Minister for Tourism, Culture and Civil Aviation, His Excellency Navin Srivastava for their gracious presence and address to the gathering. Similarly, I would also like to thank SIP's Foreign Secretary Foreign Secretary Bharatraj Paudalji, Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism, and the Mayor of the municipality, as well as the head of the TAN, NATA, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen, for making this program very successful. Finally, would like to thank Madam President Ms. Sejara Rana for her tireless enthusiasm and efforts towards the destination of this book. I would also like to thank consultant Ms. Luja Mathima for her big contribution to make this book publication, as well as Mr. Marshall Rathore, Deputy Director of the Chamber, for their tireless contribution, supported by Mr. Kem Singh, Director General of the Chamber, with passion and great patience in bringing the dream into reality, and upholding the role of Nikki for promotion of bilateral tourism at large. Last but not least, I also thank the management of the Patan Museum of this beautiful city, Lalitpur, for providing the venue at this historical monument, and Bhog Events and Management Private Limited for their event management support. And once again, in the list, I would like to thank to our sponsor, President Travels and Tours and Vistara Airlines. Once again, thank you, everyone, and I wish everyone will enjoy the dinner. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you indeed. Now, with this, ladies and gentlemen, the formal engagements of the stage have come to an end. However, there is much more to this evening beyond the formalities, I know. The socials have just begun, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to discussing so many things common to us. And as we look forward towards doing more from our respective niches and through collaboration, let us enjoy this coming together in the truest of Nepali traditions. Please enjoy the rich Newari cuisine that aligns with the significance of this ambience, and enjoy the mellifluous music and performance from the artist who will be performing one of Nepal's oldest ethnic dances, coming from the eastern part of Nepal, known as Garra. Ladies and gentlemen, dinner is being served. Bon appetit, and thank you for your valued presence and all your encouragement and gestures. Have an enjoyable evening and enjoy the music and dinner. Bon appetit. Thank you.